We are looking at soft cover junk journals today. Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. So I want to carry on with where I left off. I have now pressed the front layers of all my fabrics, which will form the cover of the journal. So we've got 3 layers there. You can have as many layers as you like if you'd like to put another one in, if you want fabric to sort of spill out and ruffle out, if you want lace or trim or anything, you know, it really is up to the creator. I've got my cereal packaging here, just that's going to add a little bit of strength because we still want it soft, we want it movable, and that is where I'm at with that. I've got one more panel to cut, so I've got to do that. I said I was going to come to the table with all my papers done. Well, we'll fast forward through that to get to that point for you. Bone foldering these pieces flat, so these are what we are connecting our connectors, that's the word. They're not really well, they are hinges, but they're connectors, I think. I don't really know. What should we call them? You let me know. So we're connecting pages together with these pieces, these strips, the 1-inch strips that you need to make. If you would like, you don't have to, but that is the suggested way of putting this together this time. I do it differently every time because mainly I can't remember how I put it together the first time. I had to go back to my junk journal July, wherever that's gone, this one, and remind myself how I did it. So that's why I make the videos, because I have a memory like a sieve. So you need a 1-inch strip. You can decorate it, or you can use papers that you love, and or muted tones, neutrals, something that's not going to take over unless you want it to, and fold it in half. Then you connect 2 pages together like that. You can stick it down exactly like that, or you can do 1 half at a time and make it making sure it gets right into the crease of where you would like it to go. So I'm going to connect these 2 pages together using, and I just choose one that I think suits the paper, because that's quite nice in itself. Nice little task. Sit there and choose which connector is going to work. These hinge pieces I've been calling them, but I think they're better page connectors. Like that, and then that sort of that gets that in place, so that's nice, and then that's an area for decoration. So if you have watched part 2, you will see how I put those on. You can go back and watch that, or I will just do one for you in a minute, and you will also see that I cut out this panel. So I'm just going to do one more, and so we're all up to speed and everybody is able to understand how to make one of these journals. Whether you do it this weekend, next year, it doesn't matter. The videos are going to be there. They're all in the playlist for the French Linen Botanical Journal. I've been eating my cereal, collecting the boxes, and I've just got another one. So there we go. Now you all know that I like sugar-free Swiss muesli for my breakfast. Alright, so all I do is just cut the panel out, but I made it so it fitted 1 page with 1/2 inch either side of it. These 2 pieces are going to be taped together with a packaging tape, and then I'll have my other panel on the other side, which I'm going to do now. Okay, so I've got my page here. I'm just checking that I'm happy with what I've got going on here. You know, ideally this would be without this crease here, but I'm working with what I have and not worrying about what I don't have. So that's great, so that's all in position. What we're going to perhaps be able to do here is decorate and add things. We could put lace or plique, we could put another spine covering of extra bit of fabric, we can put pockets on. As long as you've got a fabric glue you can stick things on, you do not need to sew. Or you could do some very nice slow stitching, if that's something that you have been doing recently, you could decorate some of the images that you see on your top fabric. We're going to get the pages ready. I'll put you on a time lapse so you haven't got to watch all of them. I've got to count them. 24 is what you need, but you can put in more if you would like. We're going to have, this makes up one sheet, and that will then be one page. So you're going to need 6 of these pages, these double connected pages, 6 to a signature. But you can of course put in other things, like you might want to put paper doily, you might want to put in some tracing paper, some glassine paper, you might like to trap in a paper bag. All of that's possible. You can do whatever you like. So we want one of our connecty hinge pieces. Maybe let's have a nice interesting one with a bit of floral on it. That's it. And then what we do is open it out, get some sort of glue. All right, so we are gluing down this hinge piece or connector piece and making sure you go right to the edge with a nice bead of glue all the way down, getting into the corners, the creases, and all the way back up again. That's it. And make sure it's not going to have a nice seal all the way around and a little zigzag down the middle for good luck. Take your sheet and stick it down, lining it up and sticking it down. So for anyone new to junk journaling or anyone new to this technique, that is how it's done. It's quite fun, it's quite satisfying, and it comes together quite quickly. Just if you sit here doing a stack of them, you can just get them done, and they look really nice if you've taken a bit of time to decorate the outside, which I'm sure you can see how I might have done that. You could also do it ahead of the game, and then you can slice them up. That would have been probably the easier, more sensible way of doing it. But of course these things develop, and you look at them once they're done, you think, oh, I could make them look rather fun and put more to it. So that's what's happened there. So that now rather dull page has got an interesting edge. And if you would like to keep it all plain, then you would take similar matching paper and you would match it in so you wouldn't even notice. But I wanted to make a feature of the connecting parts there, and so this is how they're going to be added into the journal, something slightly different. From here you just treat it like one sheet of paper, line it up, check that everything is matching up, and use your bone folder and you just put the crease in where it needs to be, and then go from that. That's it. So that's another one done. All right, so they're going to work out to look like that, rather attractive, and a nice big stack of those. So I'm going to get on with that. Okay, here they all are, looking really lovely, nice and smart, got the little edges. Really happy with all of that. So I've got 6 in each pile at the moment. And the other idea is, when I first cut my strips, I actually cut 14 because I wanted to have options in case some got damaged or anything. So I have actually got 2 spare. You could cut a couple more if you want to, but what I've been thinking, this is going to be the centre page to my signature. I've got 2 here, and when they fold out, because of the damaged paper, it is going to appear like that. So I have now thought that this is a good way to just line that. Now you could use a washi tape or something else, strip of book page, bit of collage, but seeing as I've got these, I'm going to put those in the centre pages, and I may just put some more decorative floral stamps on there. So that's what I'm doing now. Quickly do this. I also got another one which I found, which has got a torn edge, so I couldn't really use that because I didn't want I wanted them complete. But another idea is I'd like to add some glassine bags to the journal, and I'm going to hinge those together with this damaged hinge, but the bags are slightly shorter anyway, so that works out to that for that bit to be cut off. So I'm just going to do that now. I'm going to cut off the torn. Can you see it's torn? So I'm just going to cut that off. Put those there. Bringing in this little paper here now, just so that I can do some very quick stamping. So if you missed this in part 2, this is how I did it. Right, I've just got my archival ink there, Grand Espresso. I'm going to choose a floral, put that on there, and just stamp down. I like the ghosting, that's quite nice. So if I can get there, and then that's great, and then we'll probably have a bit of that here as well. Lovely. And this one, and then change to a different stamp. I'm just going to pop that there. A little bit up there. So that's fine. That's that one. And then same here. And then I can remove that and glue the longer ones onto these pieces here, and then that's how they will sit. And I'll just trim down anything that's too long. See, that one's got a wee bit of a rip in it, so these were just sort of the discarded ones that I did originally. Just lining that up. That's my centerpiece now for the binding. Okay, just as another idea, I've got 2 glassine bags I'd like to add, and I've got the hinge here. It's just another way of showing how we can add in these extra bits to fit in with this style. Of these connecting pieces. So just go right down to the bottom of the bag and glue that in with the top bit out, and then these bits we'll decorate them so that that'll be a bit covered up. We'll come over this way with it. Line them all up and then fold that in, and then that becomes a nice crinkly pocket that can be used. And we'll just see what that would look like. Okay, then we got a little bit poking out the top, and if we don't like that, we just trim it off. Or it can be folded over like a little pocket piece. See how I feel. Might trim it. And now what we just need to do, assemble the signatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're probably going to have 7 if I'm adding in bags. Right, so now we get to put the signatures together. So I know that this one's going to be the centre of my signature on both sides. Those eco-dyed prints, which you can see in other videos how I did that, just using the natural plants from my garden, and a whole process there. There's a video on that. So they're going to go in the middle of each of the signatures. I've got the glassine bag's going to go in the signatures, and it's worked out that I've actually got 7 things in each. So one of these is 1, so there's 7 of those in each side. That's fine. I'm not going to add a doily. I don't feel that I want to do doilies in this journal because we did them in the last one. So the glassine bags and things like that, I shall be adding all that sort of thing into the pages. So I don't think I need anything more than what I've got. What you now need to decide if you're doing this is what's going to be your very first page. That's kind of key. That's the lead into this journal. So you might I'm going to choose this one. It's nice and plain, but it's got a vintage old feel. It's caramel coloured because it's had the tea stain on it, and that I think is going to be my first page. So that's where we start. Okay, so this is going to be the signature number 1, the first one in the journal. And you just have a look at your papers and decide what order you want them to be in. And then you start building it up. And you can add in the glassine bags or paper bags if you've got paper bags. And just slowly sort of add them up. What's going to be good? What's going to be interesting? So this is nice because it's a flip. And I just tethered that in the end like that. That's got that nice edge there, which I'll probably lose when you put this in. But maybe not. Maybe we've got a nice little edge there. That's quite fun. And just sort of play around with them. And then you come to the middle and we add the middle. So it's a shorter page, which I think is really nice. And that's it. That will be signature number 1. We may have to trim them down. So there we go. That's another sort of thing to consider. I'm not too bothered about it, really. I'll see how I feel. So I'm going to do the same here. Now I've got to think what's going to be my second signature. So I've got my first one. I'm quite prepared to decorate that. I'll probably put in my postcard. So that's how that will probably look for page number 1. But then when we come to it, we want to have the second signature. There'll be a gap in the middle of the journal, which allows for extra growth, extra space as we add things in. I've got this ink effect happening in here because I've got that on the back page. So maybe that's interesting. What else have I got? Oh, I've got this. Okay, so that's going to be my front. All right, so I can add these in. Maybe I want this one and this one. Then this one. Just check if you're happy with it all. And then this one here with the speckles, maybe. All right, so this is how it could potentially look in the journal when it's opened out. That will be the second signature. Just as another idea, I could swap this one for my first signature. So that's how that would look in the journal. That would be the end of the first signature and the beginning of the first. So you could have the paint splats. So this was in part 2 how we did that, if you want to see. So that would be my front page. Also cool. So that's fine. I like that. That can stay. This one just wants to slot in somewhere here. Maybe that looks nice. There's a different colour to, yeah, that's it then, isn't it? Oh, good. Well, that's easy. So that was that. That's how that's going to go. Alternatively, it goes like that, and that's the first thing you see. But I've got a feeling that this is one of my story points or starting points, so I think I'm going to do it that way around, and that's what I shall be sewing in. So there we are, off to one side. All right, so for this we're going to need Fabri-tac. Okay, so let's take away your last piece and we're going to work out how to do this. Okay, let's have a look. Now, if you've only gone for 2 fabrics and this is your top fabric, you're possibly going to get a situation, if you've used packaging, where you've got the marketing shining through the fabric. So that's why this works nicely where it's lined with 2 pieces. If I put that there now, you can't see it. Okay, but if I turn it round so we've got the plain side of the card, I don't see it either. So just make sure, if you've only got one thickness of fabric going on the top, then you just make sure you've got your plain card shining up and you can't see the marketing. So make sure you do that. Don't want to be sticking your glue on here, then putting it down, thinking you've done it all perfectly, and only to realise, oh, I can see it all through on the other side. So what I'm doing is going to be gluing onto that, and then we've got that there. But I'm just going to get rid of my top cover, and I'm going to glue this down first. First of all, I want to tape my sections together, and I'm using my Eco tape. It's sturdy enough to do what I need it to do. And the same again on the other side. With the bone folder, just going to squash, burnish and push down, make sure that's all stuck fast. I'm going all the way round. I'm concentrating right up to the edge. Working as quick as I can with this glue because it dries so very quickly. I'm going to have to go one side at a time. And I'm going to turn that over and quickly get that down. I'm not too worried if anything seeps through at this point, because this is just one bit of fabric which will then see it seeping through where I've got the great big lumps. So that is what I must avoid on the front. So for that, we have to make sure that it's spread out and that the glue is tacky and not soaking wet. So that's all done deliberately. But as we go to the top fabric, we have to be a bit more mindful of it. Okay, so now we're getting into the spine. So great big globs of glue, can just smear your finger over them so that you get a nice film and not a great big puddle of glue anywhere. Concentrating on the outside edge, coming round, and down here. All right, now check for blobs. Checking for blobs. Any big blobs? You want a good seal. Okay, let's hope that's pretty good. So this is our test run. So see if we've done any better on this one. And get the technique right. Okay. That's not perfect, but it's better. The other fabric's very thick as well, but so's this one. Now check your edges, because that didn't work. This is why you have to work quick. So if you're going to use thin beads of glue, you're going to find that it doesn't stick as well as it should. Make sure you get good contact. So we're going over the top of the fabric with our glue. I'm using slightly thicker or certainly a bigger pressure even though that sort of goes against what I've just said. I really want my cover to stick, so I've got to go over this and spread this all over so that I don't get a great big globule of glue which will soak through to the front, but I do get a nice thick tacky layer that's just going to bond to the fabric without seeping through, and it's a bit of a fine line of how to do this. So we just get the glue on thick, spread, wait till it's tacky and not soaking wet, and then put the fabric down and hope for the best. Okay, so this is very scary because I have lots of globules. So I take my finger and I smooth everything out where it's a big lump of glue. Have a look, check that you can't see any great big puddles, and get your top. Okay, it's gone quite tacky, so I'm hopeful that it's not going to seep through. I'm just lying on my fabric there. Notice I've done it this side. This will be the back, so that was my practice run, and we don't seem to have anything seeping through, so it is important to wait and let the tacky fabric, Fabri-tac, just dry ever so slightly, so we're not peeling up other than where I haven't stuck, and that's the frayed bit where I want it. Okay, so now we feel like I'm a bit more confident because we're doing so, you know, that was pretty good apart from one bit. So now we know what we're doing. We're going to come down here using a thick bead of glue, but safe in the knowledge that if we spread it out enough and just give it a little bit of time to go tacky, it shouldn't be able to seep through the fabric because it's dried enough on the top. So it will still stick the fabric down and grab to it, but it's not going to be runny enough to come seeping through. Obviously, don't touch the silicone glue if you have known allergies or a sensitive skin. Do not do what I've done. Get yourself a spreader and use that and just spread the glue properly, just a children's spreader. All right, I should know better really. So now we've got what looks like a book. We don't really want that. We want a soft cover. So we will be bending it and manipulating it like that. Just push the inside and mold it into a rounded, more rounded spine. You just pull it around something like your glue stick. Just sort of work your way down like that. So now you've got to sort of decide, are you happy with the sewing going to be coming out here? If not, you could hide it with another bit of fabric that you then put over the top. Maybe the fabric scrap that came off could form another spine if it does actually match up. It could be there, and then you hide your sewing of your spine. If you're happy with the exposed spine, which is how I'm doing it, then that will be fine. Or a corresponding different fabric, just would you glue another piece on to hide, or you could put some lace embellishment down there, or all of the other. This is just a way of showing you the idea. You can then develop it. And from here, you may want to add some extra trim or lace. And I was thinking of just putting in this Sari silk in there and trapping it in with the other fabric that will then go over the top. So I'm just thinking of putting that in there. Well, if I can make that work, that would be absolutely beautiful. So I think I'm going to do that. Now this could be, at this point, this could be lace trim that you want to put in. That's how that would look. Yeah, that's quite pretty, isn't it? So you could have the lace there, and that would be glued in at this point. So if you want anything like that to be captured in, you can put some lace, bead of glue along the edge of your card, attach your lace in, just enough to be peeping out the bottom of your frayed fabric. That's how that would be. Little glue, and we'll see how that works. I mean, you could put Sari silk and lace as well. So I just want the very small amount to be stuck in there. Okay, and then we're just finishing off this last bit with this pink, pale pink. Not sure if it comes up in the camera, but it's very pale, dusty ballet shoe sort of pink. Pretty anyway. I don't know why, but I just wanted this black. So I'm hoping that this is the right way up. I just want to make sure that my fabric comes peeping out just enough. And laying that down, all the fabric over. Okay, so we can just about see a bit of the black fabric. We're not too fussed about that. I want it on the inside, not so much on the outside. And then at this point, I can now decide whether I want to start adding extra trim. Maybe the top and the bottom. So all to think about. Now this is starting to get exciting. I'm having a look at my fabric here, and I've got two styles of script, maybe frames that I like, and I'm thinking of maybe cutting that out and also that, and one of those, I'm not sure which, will probably go onto the journal as an embellishment, and I shall have that as a focal point on the journal. And the other thing I've got is this lovely book. I'm thinking maybe that might work. It's definitely the right sort of thing, so maybe that sort of could, I'm not sure, but I've got that anyway as an option. Thinking now, after playing around with the lace, I like it in this pale blue colour, that it sort of worked quite nicely with the pink, and I might want to just have a little bit peeping through, because this is just taking a slight feminine vibe there. I'm not sure. I'm going to sleep on it, and I'm going to come back and do that tomorrow. So what I'm going to do, so we've got that far, so we've got our cover, which is a big step forward. We've ended up with our two signatures, which I'm very happy with. So tomorrow's task will be sewing in the signatures, decorating the front finally, making sure we've got our binding. We're going to have a look at the 5-hole pamphlet stitch, I think, because this is a bigger journal. I want everything in nice and securely. Maybe, no, I think 5-hole would look nice on there, nice. But I'm going to go and sleep on that now, and we'll come back tomorrow and we will complete the part 4 of this journal building, which is for the French linen botanical journal. I'm really pleased, and then we could also think about a pocket, or the pocket down the side there, and anything on the back. But it's so far so good. It's feeling really nice. Feels like lots of potential there to grow, and that's great, because we've got good strong pieces of paper there that will easily be able to take more, so that's very exciting. So I hope that you've been enjoying this so far. It's a 4-part tutorial on how to build this journal, and then after that we will get on and have a look at the storytelling, which will take us back to Neston, a little village outside of Liverpool, and we'll have a look at a final letter from Betty, and we'll round up the story there. And also it links on very interestingly and very nicely to another part of the story in the same area, which I think you're going to really enjoy. So stick with it, because this is going to be all part of the journal and part of the story making that takes us forward for the month of August and into September. If you've made it to this part of the video, I will let you know now that I have an unclaimed washi tape, and look how perfectly it's going with this linen colour. So we have an unclaimed washi tape. So if you'd like to take part in winning this washi tape, please leave a comment below with the country that you are from, and I will pick a name from the comments below, and I will be announcing tomorrow who has won. In my next video I will be announcing who's won, and then I really would like this to go to a lovely home. So that was one unclaimed prize. Everybody else has had theirs. It's all going out to them, and the lady in Canada who won the water bottle will be getting hers. It's on its way. All right, so thank you very much for joining me, and above everything else, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.